When you're writing on your Mac, one way to really speed up the process and keep yourself in the flow is through automation and using AppleScripts.
Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how you can take items from your Zotero library and then using an AppleScript quickly cite them in your plain text documents. Now there are some steps to this process, so let me just walk you through them. The first thing I'm going to do in this video is show you what an AppleScript is. I'll give you a brief definition, and then I'll show you where you can find one particular AppleScript which is called Zotpick. After that, I'll show you how you can create a service using a program that comes installed on your Mac. It's called Automator. And then I'll show you how to set a keyboard shortcut to quickly trigger that service. And then finally, we'll get to the cite as you write. Now, before I start, there are just a few things I want to signal to you. First, this video is for people who are working on a Mac. So PC folks, you're out of luck. I'm very sorry, but with these videos, I'm convincing you that Mac is the way to go. And then the other thing is that in order for this whole process to work, you need to have another plugin installed into Zotero called BetterBibTech or BetterBibLaTeX. And I actually have a video on that, and I'll put up like a suggestion in the side of the screen so you can go right to that video and install it before we start. And then the other thing I want to point out is that in order to trigger this AppleScript, I'm using items that come pre-installed on the Mac, so there's nothing you need to add. However, there are a lot of good programs out there for triggering AppleScripts. For example, the one that I generally use is called Keyboard Maestro. And then there's another one called FastScripts. Those are all good options. And then the final thing I want to point out is that there are a lot of variations on this Zotpick AppleScript. So there are variations that work with Scrivener. There are variations that work specifically with multi-Markdown if you don't want to use Pandoc. So basically think of this as sort of a starting point into the whole AppleScripts world. Okay? So now that we have that all in mind, let's get started. Before we get to the how-to portion of this video, I just want to give you a brief definition of what AppleScript is. So AppleScript is a scripting language which helps you automate actions on your Mac. Or in other words, it's a way to program your Mac desktop to do things automatically for you. Now, in comparison to other scripting languages, AppleScript is supposed to be relatively straightforward and simple. And if you want to read more about it or learn more about it, there are a lot of great tutorials on this website, macosxautomation.com. But if you're like me and you're not a super duper programmer, don't worry about it. You don't need to be a programmer because people are always creating AppleScripts and sharing them with the Apple community. So all you need to do is go to a sharing website like GitHub, and that's what I'd like to do right now. I have a Firefox window open, and you can see that I'm at github.com, and I wanted to show you one AppleScript you can use to make your writing in Markdown a lot easier. I'm going to go up to the search bar, and then I'm going to type in Zotpick, all one word. And then I'll click on the first result. Now this is a page within GitHub where someone named Dave Smith has shared a bunch of AppleScripts that he's created for writing in academic Markdown. And actually, I'm going to include a link to his website in the description for this video because there's lots of great tips and ideas there. Now, if we scroll down and then click on Zotpick pandoc.applescript, it brings up the following chunk of code. So this is what an AppleScript looks like. And as I said just a second ago, you don't actually need to understand what this code is. You just need to be able to copy and paste it. And that's what we're going to do right now. So I'll take all the text that's in this window here, and I will copy it. And I'll simply hit Command-C to copy it. And now what I'll do is move the window so it only takes up half the screen. And I'll open up a program that comes pre-installed on your Mac. It's called Automator. Now when Automator first opens up, it'll give you this option for the type of document you want to create. And I want you to select Service. So we'll click Service and then Choose. And then what I want you to do is where it says Service receives selected text, click on that and select No Input. Now that we have this service receiving no input, we need to add an action, which is to run an AppleScript. So I'll go up to the Actions pane, and there's a search pane here, and I'll just type in AppleScript and select Run AppleScript and drag it into this window. And then I'll type Command-A to select all the text, and I'll delete it. And then Command-V to paste in the text that I just copied from Dave Smith's GitHub page. And you can see it's all here. If you want to give it a quick test, you can click on Play. And you can see we already have the Zotero Quick Picker popping up, so we know it's working. But actually, I'm just going to cancel that for the moment. You can also see that in the AppleScript window here in Automator, it's highlighted all the syntax, so it's easier to read. But again, we don't need to understand the syntax in order for this to work. Okay. Now that I know that the AppleScript is working, I'll go to the Automator window, and I'll hit Command-S for save. And I'll just call it Zotpick. Hit Enter. And from there, I can close this window, and I can actually also close the Firefox window. Now, close the Firefox window, but do not quit the program. And then I'm going to open up System Preferences. Once System Preferences is open, I'll then select Keyboard. And from Keyboard, I'll click on Shortcuts. And then once I'm in Shortcuts, I'll go to the window here on the left and select Services. Now I have a lot of services, so this is going to be a long list. Your list should be shorter. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down this list and look for Zotpick. You can see here that it's under General, right here. And then I'll make sure that it's selected, which it is. And then where it says in gray, None, I'll click there. And then I'll click on Add Shortcut. And this is where you enter the keyboard shortcut to trigger the Zotero picker. For me, I'm going to make it Command-Y. So you can see that this shortcut is now active, and so every time I hit Command-Y, and it doesn't matter what program I'm in, it will open up the Zotero picker. So let's close this window, and then open up a text document to see how it works. At the same time, I'm also going to open up a live HTML preview of this text document in Marked. And if you're interested in learning more about Marked 2, I've made a video on that, so you should check it out. So again, on the left we have the text document, and on the right we have the HTML document. So before we test the picker, let's just put in some placeholder text so we can get an idea of the layout of the document. I'll add a title, some headers, and some placeholder text. And then I'll generate the live preview. Next, what I'll do is I'll put the cursor where I want to insert my citation, and then I'll hit Command-Y. And from there I'll choose a text. Let's say this one. Let's give it a page number, and I'll hit OK. And you can see that the cite key has been added to my text. Now let me just enclose it in brackets, and then I'll save the document to regenerate the preview. And voila, there you have it. On the left I have my cite key and my citation written in Pandoc Markdown, and on my right I have my live preview with my properly formatted parenthetical citation and list of references. And just imagine how quickly you can get into the flow of writing when all you need to do is hit a keyboard shortcut to insert a reference. There's no going back and forth between Zotero. All you do is hit Command-Y and you're off to the races. So thanks for watching this video on AppleScripts. Please subscribe to my channel by clicking right here on this ugly mug, and leave your questions in comments below. I'd love to hear your ideas and thoughts you have for future videos. You can follow me on Twitter at Dr. Nerdis, that's the name here down at the bottom of the screen. And check out my other videos. I've got a whole series on academic writing in plain text, and also on using the program Zotero.